We are at 6:35. District Governor Harry Henderson, without further ado, for our welcoming. Thank you. Take it away.
Thank you very much, Pat. And it's a pleasure to be here today and see so many good friends on this call today. It's terrific to have a chance to see you all here today on what is a gloomy Northern Virginia day, at least for us in up here north of Woodbridge. You know, youth service and youth programs are really, I believe, an underutilized and underappreciated aspect of Rotary International and the work that so many of our great clubs do. I have to tell you that I consistently believe that the tremendous work that we're involved with youth and youth efforts, and now as we move toward peace and peace efforts as well, this is a great combination of those two specific efforts that we have. Tremendous confidence, I know, in the great people that have put the Youth and Peace in Action programs together, and our great director, Peter Kyle, who has been involved into it. Before I turn it over to my good friend, Juanita Cawley, past District Governor Juanita Cawley, I do want to acknowledge a couple of things that have happened in the last couple of days here. Some of you have heard that over the weekend, Woody Bentley from the Vienna Club passed away. Woody was a longtime foundation and officer with the Vienna Club. Also, some of you may have heard that James Hicks of the Woodbridge Club also passed away after a heart attack. And then unfortunately, this morning I got news that our good friend Angie Mokhtar of the Alexandria West Club succumbed to her battle with cancer. So it's been a bit of a tough week. And so what I'd ask us all to do, if we could briefly now, is to just have a moment of silence for our lost friends. Thank you. Past District Governor Juanita, I'm going to turn this over to you. There's nobody that I know of in Rotary that knows more about peace programs and efforts that are involved with that than you. And I have the utmost confidence that you're going to lead us forward into this and show us how we're going to be able to combine two of these great programs in youth service and our peace programs to provide youth and peace in action. Juanita, take it away.
Thank you, Harry. It's wonderful to see everybody. What our hope is for this evening, since hopefully most of you have seen and heard information about this program, and this is not your first introduction to it. If it is, please feel free to ask as many questions as you need to, because this is the last chance for overviews and questions before we need your club's final decision, which is by Friday. So I thought maybe it would be helpful just to give you a very brief overview of how we see this program, and then spend most of the time on questions and hopefully answers to give you the information that you need to bring back to your club if your club has not yet made a decision. The name of this program is the Youth and Peace in Action. And it is an initiative of our Rotary International Director, Peter Kyle, who is currently in a club in Washington, D.C., and he has an extensive background in peace and conflict resolution. So he's the perfect director to bring this program to both zones 33 and 34. Now, for those of you who might not know, that those two zones together run all the way from Pennsylvania now down to the Caribbean. So all the states in between are part of zones 33 and 34, and it includes Washington, D.C. So this program is going to be the largest local peace building program in the history of Rotary International, which is a great tribute to Peter to bring something of this size during his tenure to our two zones. And aren't we lucky? It's our two zones. We have a large group of Peace Fellows in our two zones. We have a very dense population of Rotarians and Rotary clubs, which is part of the reason why this area was selected. At this point in time, we think there's approximately 17 different districts participating. And depending upon the response from our clubs in our district, we may be one of those 17 or 18 districts participating. It's Peter's initiative and it's Peter's idea to do this. However, as all of you know, when you put something this big together, you need people who have done the work and know how to implement these kinds of programs. And he chose New Gen Peace Builders with Patricia Schaefer and Outbound Peace Builders, which Anna Patel is the representative that we're working with from Outward Bound. So it's a blend of those two leaderships together that are actually bringing this program to us. Essentially, from what I've read and what I've seen, it looks to me like it's very much the New Gen curriculum as we know it for those who have participated in it before. As you know, Charlottesville was a part of it, and the Middle Peninsula was an implementer of it, I don't know, 3 or 4 years back. And aren't we lucky to have Jackie McMillan with us, who was in the club in California, which was, I think, Jackie, isn't it the first? Weren't you the first to actually implement New Gen Peace Builders?
Well, other than Patricia's club in North Carolina, yes,
Right.
we were.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. And I know when Patricia came to our district some years back and did her presentations, et cetera, she would always talk about Santa Rosa and the program there. So that was her initial program, other than Charlotte. One of the things that's different this time around is this is all virtual. Now, when we did it 3, 4, 5 years ago, it was in person. So this is different. They have been doing it virtually during all this COVID time. So it won't be a first time around to do it virtually, but it is different from how we've known it in the past. The curriculum itself is a version of what the actual Peace Fellows receive. When our Peace Fellows go for their master's training and their certification training, this is a version of what the Peace Fellows get. And I think that's part of the beauty of this, is it's not just something unknown that we're bringing in. It's something that Rotary values and actually teaches in our programs at the universities where we have our peace centers. So that to me was an important piece. And what those Peace Fellows get is often taken from the Institute for Economics and Peace. And some of you may be familiar with that organization, which is the organization that is doing all the research around peace and peace building. They're the ones, if you've heard positive peace, negative peace, they're the group that has done all the research around that study, so to speak. So what the students then will be receiving is a kickoff day in September, which will be virtual, and it will be an overview of the program, and all Rotarians will be involved if you want to be. It's not exclusive to the students. So that's something to keep in mind for your club. Is actually it's happening on National Peace Day, September 21st. And that program, I don't have a time for it yet, but I do know that they do plan to record it. So if people miss it, there'll be a link to be able to access it. Following that program on September 21st, beginning in October, going through December, will be the actual online curriculum component. And that will be self-paced for the most part for the students. They will have access to it, not just on a computer, but there'll be a mobile access. So it should be that they can do it in almost any setting. After the online curriculum, there'll be a select group from that bigger group of students who are taking the curriculum, students who can apply to actually become part of peace projects. It'll be a smaller group, it's not the whole group, but those peace projects will be done online. They'll be virtual. However, they will have the same mentor training that was given during the live peace projects. And the opportunity for Rotarians is Rotarians can apply to be mentors for these teams. And there's training for the mentors. So it's not like you go in there and you have to know what to do. There will be training for the mentors. And that would be your opportunity, or your club's members' opportunity, to actually work directly with the students in coaching them through these projects. There's an actual structure to the projects that they teach. They teach the mentors and they teach the students. So it's not a random putting something together. It's very structured.
Juanita,
And those, yeah.
we have a couple of questions.
Okay, you want to stop with those?
Sure, yeah, just Randy asked, are Outward Bound and New Gen already active in the Arlington school system? I
don't think so.
No.
I will get to their role with the schools in a little bit. But no, I think they're not anywhere right now in terms of our district.
Okay. And if each club contributes $1,000 to this initiative, what do the costs cover, and how much does the program cost per student or school?
Yeah, I'll try to answer that in a little bit.
Okay. All right.
Because it truly goes down to how many clubs are going to participate.
Right.
And $1,000 may not be enough if there's a small number of clubs. If there's a large number of clubs, yes, it will be, but not if there's a small number. So it's hard to answer that at this moment.
Please go on.
Okay. The only other thing I wanted to mention in terms of the program itself, after the peace projects, which will take place from February to April, in May, there'll be a presentation virtually of all of those projects, or a select number of those projects. And that will be at a final celebration virtually that will be open to districts participating at what's called the anchor level or the higher level. If the district selects the basic level, that united celebration and sharing of the peace projects will not be available to our district. And I'll get to the money part shortly, and I'll come back to that. I did want to share just a little bit about what the Rotarian responsibilities will be in terms of clubs. What are you responsible for? and it's very different from when it was in person. The first thing is to have a relationship with either an Interact club or a service club at the school, and simply share outreach information. It's not recruiting, it's not convincing anybody, it's simply sharing outreach information. The window for that sharing is April 14th, today it started, through May 31st. So there's a good month and a couple of weeks to share information. And it can be shared not only with schools, but the community as well. The second thing, that responsibilities for clubs to participate are, it's open, members are open to be mentors. I've mentioned this before. How many they're choosing, again, depends on what level of monetary participation we will be a part of. So some you'll find probably will want to, eager to do it, and other people will not want any part of it. And that's because we can't use everybody. So either way, publicizing the project to the community and local media, making the community aware of the program and what we're offering, and essentially being an ambassador for the program within your community. So it's not a particularly heavy burden, I didn't think, for clubs, especially for what they're getting. The benefits for being a part of it as a Rotarian is that you will have the opportunity to learn about positive peace and community peace projects, both through that online event and through, if we're in the mid-level, at least, the United celebration at the end in May. I did have a question last night, and I don't have the answer, but I have asked the question, is will Rotarians be allowed to actually access the curriculum that the students are receiving? I think many people are very interested in the actual content. So I don't have the answer to that yet, but I have asked that question. And then we as Rotarians will also have access to the club discussion guides, and that a lot of that is the questions and the content that the students will be discussing virtually. If you want a website to go to see a lot of this, it's already available. If you go to youthpeaceaction.org, you'll see a lot of it there, and they will continue to add. Beginning today is the first day it opens, so they will be adding over time. Youthpeaceaction.org, all one word, youthpeaceaction.org. Two other points before I actually go back to questions. One is that the Youth Peace and Action group, the people who are delivering this product, are the ones who will be actually reaching out to schools with specific information and applications. The applications will be online, and they will be reaching out to the schools who have either Interact or service clubs that they believe would meet the type of criteria they are looking for. And lastly, about money, there are 3 levels, financial levels of participation. The first one, let's see, is called the participating district, and that is a $15,000 commitment. That's the one where you do not get the United celebration at the end, so you do not get to see the peace projects. With the $15,000 commitment, you can do the math yourself. If we have 15 clubs at $1,000 a piece, that will pay for it. I think that there will probably be some hope, maybe, that we try to offer to our students a little more than the basics. which is what this level is. It's the very basic. And the, let's see, it only allows 15 to 25 students to work on peace projects through this model. So it's something to consider as to how much money you want to put into this and how many clubs in the end we actually have. Now we have some clubs already who have committed, and they're not on this call. So the people on the call are not the totality of the people who are already interested and committed. So there are other people out there. The second level is called an anchor district, and that is $30,000. And that one does include the United Celebration and training for the Peace Project mentors. I think the first one does too. Yeah, they both include training for Peace Project mentors, but at the anchor level, we're talking about 30 to 50 peace projects. So that allows for many more groups of students to be a part of a peace project. And then the highest level is called champion districts, and that is a $50,000 commitment. And that also, in addition to the United Celebration, that also allows for training for teachers who want to be trained. And that's the only level the teacher training is also offered. And again, it's all voluntary for teachers if they want to be trained, but they're targeting social studies teachers, particularly because of the content and how it fits into this training. And with that one, it's 45 to 75 peace projects. So you can see it's quite a variation, and some of it will depend on A, how many clubs want to do this, B, how much do you want to put into this in terms of money, and 3, what level of quality or involvement do you want our students to have? So I think, Pat, with that, are we back to some questions and I'll
yes.
answer any?
I assume that the project was, the peace projects were an integral part for the students. Did I understand you to say that not everyone would participate in a peace project?
That's correct. Let's see. At the basic level, you have 5 to 10 students per club from 50 high school service clubs having access to live interactive peace project training, which will result in about 30 to 50 peace projects. That's at the basic level.
I don't mean to be rude, but I need to go to another meeting.
Okay.
And
all right. If you have questions, just email me.
If you would like to receive my feedback about this, I mean, I don't mean to be unpleasant, but this is the third meeting I've attended about this topic in the past week.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that this is so rushed and there is so little detailed information that I can't go to my club's board meeting tomorrow and support this project. Okay. I mean, I have a background as a chief financial officer in many companies, and I would never commit to something for any amount of money like this based on the amount of information that has been presented and the rush timetable that has been presented for this.
Well, I would be happy to pass that on.
And that is not meant to be a criticism of you or anyone on this call, but I mean, I'm trying to find a kind word to use and I can't find one. I mean, I just think this has been totally rushed and has not been well presented.
I will pass that on.
Okay, thank you. Hope you all have a good evening.
Thank you. Pat?
Yes. I think you answered the number of students per club. Does the district plan to commit funds to the program over what the clubs submit?
Is that one you can answer, Pat?
Yes. And let me just, the way that we have structured, each year we get DDF, and that creates the money for your district grants. So next year, your district grants will remain at $3,000. The practice of the district has always been that you submit one grant wherein all of your, district grant money goes to one project. Because of this project, we are allowing clubs to decide to still submit one grant, but identify to us that you intend to be a participating club in this program, and that you are going to devote anywhere from $1,000 to all $3,000 of your district grant to this program. Or you can tell us with one grant that you are going to do $1,000, $2,000 to this program, and with the balance, you intend to devote that to another community nonprofit event that you are, or service that you are supporting. Now, that is the money that comes from the district in the grants. We are looking to add an additional possibly $10,000 on top of whatever the clubs submit. But we still, again, if you want to get to that middle tier, $30,000, we're going to have a number of clubs participating in making that decision with their district grant funds. Does that answer that person's question?
You really need 20 clubs then. Is that what you're saying, Pat?
Well, you either need 20 clubs at $1,000 each, or you need clubs that are going to give more of their district grant to this program. I mean, we do have a few clubs that are very committed to the program, and so they intend to put in a bit more than the minimum, which is $1,000. But that's really a decision that you have to make as a club. And we understand the comments earlier, understand that we are getting this information to you as fast as we have received it.
I know. And McLean has already decided that we will support it. But it is such a good program, I guess, because I've worked with Patricia Schaefer before.
Right.
And outbound, if it's the same kind of outbound that my kids went to, and this would be really terrific if we could get to the 30,000 level.
Right. And for those of you that are familiar, and Juanita has done such a wonderful job in the past with this program in our district, think of it as, and many of you may have this experience, in high schools, everybody now in your junior and your senior year are doing cornerstone projects or capstone projects. Some of them talk about where students elect to engage in an area of study that a subject they didn't know much about. They do research. They identify challenges and issues. They identify what solutions are available, and they work on a group project. And I will tell you that colleges are clamoring for these. Students that do have these kind of projects on their resume are looked at more seriously. From a corporate standpoint, I had somebody say, what's the return? Is everybody going to be a peace fellow? And what kind of job do you get? Think of it as a project management and a research background. Everybody in business needs people with really well-honed project management skills. And that is identifying challenges, working in teams, being able to deliver a product on a specific time frame, and having good understanding, good community relationships is something that is sought by corporations. For instance, Amazon needed a very big cadre of well-qualified staff people when they were making the proposals and dealing with the reactions within communities that weren't selected and the reactions of communities that were selected. So those are kind of the advantages that students get, and it's fun. Yes, please, Randy, ask your question directly.
Okay, so I'm very happy to hear that we can devote some of our DDF grant to this project. I've always been unhappy that we couldn't split it, but I understood the reasons. Our club's concern is that our high school really wouldn't be very good for this. On the other hand, I'm glad to hear from Glenn that the McLean Club does want to do it. So, Glenn, could we partner with you, and presumably this will be done at the high school that you would support, would propose this for?
I would propose that to our next president of the club. I think he would probably buy off on that. We'd love to work with Rosalind.
So which school would you be working with?
I think we'll work with Langley and McLean. There is a couple of private schools that seem somewhat interested. I talked to their teachers already. Now, in this area, the clubs, the schools are so busy, it's going to be a sell job. You know,
That was part of my concern, but Juanita, the procedure by which in September, there will be the first pitch, or not the first pitch, but a big pitch to the schools. Glenn's already done the important legwork. September's too late if you want to get people involved. You particularly need faculty and administration at the school interested and involved in this. So Glenn's done the right thing. I hope other clubs that are interested in this are doing this too, because you got to arrange this before the end of this school year if you want to do something in September.
Yeah, it's just the actual beginning of the program is September. By then, schools will be selected, students will be selected. All of that will be done by September 21st. So it's just the first piece of the program in action.
Right. And Eric, you had a question, and then Fred, you had a question.
Yeah.
Pat.
Yeah. Hey, Pat. Hi. How are you? So maybe a couple comments and a question. One, you know, I understand some of the hesitancy around like the maturity of this effort, but part of the, I think, appealing thing, at least in my view, is the fact that this is like an opportunity to be on kind of the ground floor of something really incredible. And sometimes there is a lack of kind of commonality between something innovative and interesting and well-defined and mature processes, right? I mean, they tend not to go, like, part of it is, I think, helping to kind of create that, lay the roadmap out, and the reward, I think, personally, that comes with doing that. That's one. Two, I was wondering, is there like any specific challenge around, like, obviously, if we hit the 10,000 level, I guess it's the 30,000 level. Is there any issue with clubs saying, well, I don't want to commit to 5 if I know we're only going to get to 10? Is there a way to kind of work out, like, if we end up at this level, then this, and at another level, then I'm willing to donate that? And that kind of leads into a broader question, Juanita, which I guess is, what do you see being the biggest obstacles or challenges for the district to launching this successfully? What do you see being maybe the few critical things that we need to do as a district to do this well?
I think making sure that club members are knowledgeable enough of the program to share the information, whether it be with schools or the community. I don't know, Lisa, who made the comment earlier, but I suspect that there is more information that is out there that people haven't accessed yet. With the website being live as of today, if you look at that website that I mentioned, youthpeaceaction.org, you'll find lesson plans, you'll find videos, you will find a good amount of information about this program. It is not brand new. It is has been in the making 8 years. It's just a rename for this zone project, zone 33 and 34, but essentially it is the new gen content, which has been around since Jackie's day when Santa Rosa started it 8 years ago. So I think that is one of the biggest things, is becoming knowledgeable and using your own initiative and your club's initiative, your club chairs, whether it be international or youth or anyone, to actually go visit these websites and go see the information that's out there. Today, everything is virtual, so there's no paper here for me to give you or send you. It's all online. So to me, that is probably the biggest obstacle, is getting people to know all the information that's out there that maybe would answer something that we haven't touched on in these briefings. But hopefully the specifics in terms of the money, we've got to answer those kinds of questions for you. I mean, the Youth Peace and Action group has nothing to do with how our district allocates the money. Every district is doing it differently. So that part is in our hands in terms of which level of commitment we want to make, and which program we want to choose, which level.
Okay, we have Fred, followed by Pat, followed by Earl, followed by Stan. Fred?
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. I'm kind of new to this effort, and I really, first of all, let me say I'm very excited about what I've heard over the last week, and I applaud everybody that's done a lot of work to get us to this point. But I have myriad questions, to be honest with you, so I can help my board whether they want to support this project or not. I thought I understood last week that the club was involved in recruiting the schools. Based upon what you said tonight, Juanita, I'm not so sure that is the case. Can you clarify that for me? That's question number one. I'll stop there.
Okay, I'll try. The way they have explained it is, let's just, tell me, Fred, which is your club?
Rappahannock in Fredericksburg.
Okay. All right, Rappahannock. So you have, I'm assuming, more than one high school in your catchment area, or do you have one Interact?
We have two schools that have Interact clubs.
Okay, so if your club said, yes, we want to do this, the YPA leadership group will then actually approach the school itself and give the school the information about the program. What the Rotarians are doing is educating the Interact or the service clubs so that the students know about the program. So the YPA group is taking on, I'm going to say, like the admin, the administration part, the school level part, because the schools really will not have a huge role in this, except that they house all these students. So it's the students who Interact clubs and all. If they don't know about it, it's going to be difficult for the school itself to explain why this might be something that would appeal to a student.
Well, that leads right into the conundrum of Friday's commitment, because it's going to be, first of all, my officers of my club are not at all happy that I'm asking to work around the established budgeting process. And both the president and the president-elect have told me so. So we've already started out on a, quite frankly, an adversarial situation, number one. Number two, if the schools say no, then what's in it for the club to participate in the project? If the schools at the Interact Club say no, it seems to me it's almost impossible for a club to commit before, the school has to agree at the same time almost. So there's this conundrum of timing that I'm struggling with, of how to sell it to my club.
I'm not sure the school is saying yes or no to anything other than to receive the information and the application package. I will be happy to clarify that and make sure that people get that information. But I think it comes back to whether or not the school is open to receiving information and being the vehicle for the applications. That's the part I think is going to be their role.
But if the Rotary Club has the interaction, has the relationship with the Interact Club,
yes,
that relationship exists.
yes.
And if the school says no, then there's no motivation for the club to participate.
I will get a little more clarification on that, Fred. I can't give you any more beyond what I've already told you because I don't know any more than what I've told you. But
well, is the April 16th date a hard stop?
Well, I was told yes, but again, I will ask the question whether or not it is. The original date was actually a week ago. And with where we were in this process, there was no way to ask you to tell us a week ago. So we've already pushed them a week further. If you look at their timeline that started today and goes through May 31st, that's the window for getting the information out to students and schools. So there's about a 6-week window. That's why they wanted to know before today so that they could get the pieces of information out to the various groups. So I will put on my little list here whether there's any extension beyond Friday. And hopefully I will get an answer in a timely fashion. And then I will try to pursue that other issue that you've got. If the school says no, then what?
Yes. Fred, if we could move to Patricia.
Sure.
Thank you. Patricia?
You mean Pat? I can go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm sorry.
Thank you. Pat Williams from the Herndon Club. I just came from the board of directors meeting, so I'm sorry that I'm late. I might have missed something. I'm very pleased that there's a lot of excitement in Herndon about it, and I was able to at least get everyone to agree to get the board to pass the initial entry rate of $1,000 to commit to working on this wonderful project. I have with me two, I don't know if you introduced yourselves or not, but Alvarez Lassane is just made one visit to our club so far, but he's here with us tonight because he loves working with youth, and this project just had his name all over it. So he was willing to come. I hope he's not too confused about where we are just in this discussion tonight. And Signe, who is the CEO of our satellite club, and also very excited about it. And we have one other member in the Herndon Club that's very excited. So the enthusiasm is there, and I do see that there's a very sketchy understanding of where it came from and where we're going, but we're all trying to latch on and work on global peace. Thanks, Eric. Hi.
Hey, thank you, Earl. Thank you, Pat. Earl? and then Stan.
Earl, you're muted. Earl, you're muted.
Earl, yeah.
That better?
Mhm.
I said I had a nuts and bolts question. If say our club decided we were going to jump in and we're going to contribute $3,000 to it, but the district can only raise a total of $15,000. How does that all fit in? I mean, do we get the $3,000 benefit or
Now, this is a unit. We are a unit. If we only raised 15,000, that's what we will get. It's the basic level regardless.
Okay. Okay.
All right. Thank you, Earl. Stan?
Hi, I really have several questions. Number one, Charlottesville traditionally has supported things like this, and we definitely intend to support it at the $1,000 level. We met as a board and approved that. Concern was what happens if we contribute 1,000 and then later on not enough clubs have contributed, and then we get asked for more, progressively more and more. So that's one question. Number two, I'm a little disturbed by the fact that you basically said this is a rehash of New Gen. It was presented to us initially as a kind of a new dynamic program. Frankly, our experience with New Gen over the last couple of years has not been satisfactory. Other things, I gather we're supposed to sell this to the Interact clubs and service clubs. I have not been to the website today. When I went a couple of days ago, there really was not a lot of substantive information. What exactly are we supposed to share with the clubs? Third thing, you mentioned the YPA leadership group will go to the schools. Why did I not go to the Interact clubs that are available and other service clubs to get them interested? It would seem like you would want to do both. And those are the main. Also, you mentioned public selling this to the public, or at least publicizing it. Are there packets of information, press kits, things like that that we can use to do this? Will those be developed? And lastly, we do not want to use part of our district grant for this. We have money allocated in our budget for this. So if we tell you we're supporting it at the $1,000 level, I don't want that to automatically trigger a deduction from our district grant, because we've already identified a use for that.
Yeah.
And I apologize for rambling and all the questions. Thank you.
I'll try to remember all of the components, but once we commit to a level and clubs have committed to the amount that they're being given, there will be no request for more money. All right. Once you say, let's just say we have $1,000 from 15 clubs and we get in at the $15,000 level, that's it. There's no moving to the next level unless you all want to add money yourselves, you know, by requesting to do that, but you won't be asked for it. The piece about rehashing New Gen, it is, for the most part, the New Gen curriculum, it's being offered in an online curriculum versus in person. So the curriculum is based on the same information that New Gen has delivered over the years. Now, I'm not sure I heard the same thing you did about it being a new program. It's new in the sense that it's an initiative by the director to reach from Pennsylvania to the Caribbean and have an online presence for the participating districts. But the content, for the most part, as I understand it, is the same. You're muted.
what about the partnership with Outward Bound? Does that change anything?
I've been in meetings with both of them. I cannot tell that the content that they've used is any different. It's all based on, or a lot of it is based on the Institute for Economics and Peace and the positive peace and negative peace concepts that have grown out of that agency, which is what NewGen has been based on over time.
Stan, the other question you had at the end about if you're committing money outside of your district grant, you don't, and that's fine. That's up to the club.
Yeah.
We were giving the flexibility to the clubs via the district grant to make it potentially more possible for a larger number of clubs, but that would not be a problem.
Yeah, using part of the district grant. This is the first time I've heard that discussion. I really wanted to make clear that we already have plans for our district grant money.
Right. No, that's not a mandatory.
Okay.
That's an opportunity.
So my big question is really the mechanics. As a club, we're going to communicate with our Interact Club and other service clubs, I assume. What tools will we be provided to help that process?
Yeah, they have developed, it's not that they are developing, they have developed a toolkit for dissemination of information. And I'm not sure I saw it when I was browsing the Youth Peace Action website, but my guess is it's on that website.
Yeah, I did not see it. So that's why my
Okay.
concern was in general concepts, this is a great program, but the devil is in the details, and schools and clubs will want to know those details.
Yeah, no, you don't have to create any of that. They are doing all of that.
Okay.
And the other thing is, I do want to reassure all the clubs that your comments and the areas that you would like further clarified, some of the hesitation issues, the timing issues, we certainly will convey that. That will not be a new conversation because both Juanita and I have conveyed those things, but they are on a certain time frame. And so we want to get this information, an opportunity to as quickly to you as possible so that our clubs will have an opportunity to consider and participate in this. And I think going back to Eric's earlier comments, yes, we are getting in on the ground floor. And sometimes, we're not sure if everybody's wearing blue coats or green coats, but we'll work that out as we move forward. So there is a little bit of that you do, clubs have to tolerate. Juanita?
I took down 3 questions that I will get back with everybody on. One is Friday, is there any way to work around Friday? If school says no, then what? And who do clubs communicate with exactly? Are there any other burning questions that would make a difference in your decisions that I should get?
Yes, if clubs commit, but the district doesn't reach $15,000, what happens to their commitment?
You'll keep your money. Yeah, that's an easy one. We're not taking any money up.
No, I'm sorry, Pat's gonna go take a vacation. No, you get your money back.
Yeah, I'm not sure it'll even transfer hands at that point.
Yes, no.
Because there'll be a point, if it's not Friday, it will be next week, that if we don't have enough clubs who commit to participating at a level of at least 15,000, then you're not going to write your district grant for it. You're not going to take money out of your club funds for it because we won't be going any further.
But if you just watch TV at night, you can tell how important this program is and how much we ought to participate in it. You know, there's nothing more important than peace today.
And we, you know, if I could just say, we call it peace, but the old term used to be community relationships. And that really is what you're talking about. School relationships, community relationships, practicing what Rotary is really about, and that is respect for others and working together to find solutions so that we can have, you know, a way forward collectively and positively in a positive framework as a community.
You are
Pat,
absolutely.
what I would add, I'm sorry, what I would add to that, Pat, is I think what's different now in the way Rotary is looking at peace is it's much more research based than ever before.
Yes.
Before it was either war or not war, or it was feel good or not feel good. Now with this Institute of Economics for Peace doing the research that they're doing and coming out with what are the parts of a society that create the environment for a peaceful society. That isn't anything that we had taught before. And
Yeah.
that's what these students are going to be learning, the 8 pillars of peace, what is positive peace, what is negative peace. But while they're learning plan management and the types of things that you just talked about. But to me, the added piece that's different from early years of Rotary is the research component and basing what we do on data, which we did not do before.
Yeah.
But it's been an evolution. I mean, somebody said to me, how long did it take you to understand the Rotary Foundation? Well, doesn't it take most of us years to learn about the Rotary Foundation? Well, that's the way it is with peace, because it's an evolving concept now. And it started out with maybe the UN in 1921, but look where we've come since then and where we are today with learning data and what parts of society are triggers for a peaceful society or a non-peaceful society. So I don't mean to belabor that, but it is an evolution, and it does take a while now to learn more about Rotary and peace.
I just want to clarify one last thing.
Sure.
And that is, what are the club buying for its $1,000? What I think I'm hearing, we're buying the curriculum for 5 to 10 students. Is that essentially correct?
No, let me give you the number that goes with a $15,000 commitment is up to 1,000 students. And then the 5 to 10 students per club goes on for Peace Project training. But that whole 1,000 gets the curriculum, the online 3-month curriculum. Everybody gets that.
Everybody in the club gets that.
No, everybody. Well, when you say
everybody
club,
in the Interact club.
Yes. Everybody, all the students get the curriculum. And they have on this piece of paper up to 1,000 students. And after they complete the online curriculum, there's a certification that they receive as a result of having done that. And then it's the 5 to 10 per club in the Peace Project training, and then 15 to 20 projects come out of that. Does that help? Now, at the $30,000 level, it's different. You get 2,000 students, and you get 5 to 10 per club for the Peace Project training, and 30 to 50 projects.
And can I also add that while that smaller group is then selected to go on to the program's Peace Projects, you will have students who you have many more students that have completed the scholarship part of it. And there is nothing that would preclude you as a club to then begin to work with those students in their school. So, and that gives you that opportunity because now they understand what you're talking about. And it really is predicated on sustainable sustainable efforts. And as, do we have any other questions before we wrap it up?
This is
Well,
not exactly a question, but
Yes.
after 33 years in the State Department of trying to build peace and conflict management, other things, I can say this is a very, very worthwhile project.
Yes.
The Institute has done a very good job. This is all great ideas. I just think we're doing it backwards because we're not approaching the schools first and finding out if there's buy-in before our club commits the money.
I
But
agree.
that we
I'm gonna
can use DDF, that we can use our DDF, split our DDF and put some of it towards it. And then we can partner with another club that has a more appropriate school. This makes it a lot more attractive to me, and I will pitch it to my club.
Thank you, Randy. Any other comments or questions? Well, I just want to thank Juanita, our PG, past district governor. I hate that PDG. I can never get that out correctly. Past district governor Juanita, for taking on this assignment as I requested her. And of course, who else would I ask but our expert in our district? And everything that she's doing to get us the information as completely and as quickly as we possibly can. And I want to thank all of you for your time, first and foremost, always for being Rotarians, for choosing to live in this district and to make our communities in our district better places because you do good in the world. So with that, have a good evening. Have a good week. We'll be back to you. If you have any further questions or comments, please share that with us. And we look forward to working with you on this project. Good evening, everybody.